Most people who talk out of ego talk to hear themselves. They're not usually interested in what you have to say. While you talk, they're waiting to respond with something bigger and better. So you mention you're taking a vacation, and they mention every vacation they've ever been on. Those people are dreary because they're insecure, and they have to win you over by trying to impress you. And since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. I would have you consider your judgment and your appetite, even as you would two loved guests in your house. Surely you would not honor one guest above the other, for he who is more mindful of one loses the love and the faith of both. Among the hills, when you sit in the cool shade of the white poplars, sharing the peace and serenity of distant fields and meadows, then let your heart say in silence, God rests and reason. And when the storm comes and the mighty wind shakes the forest and thunder and lightning proclaim the majesty of the sky, then let your heart say in awe, God moves in passion. And since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. There's a lack mentality with the 5 of coins. There's a desire to move things forward. There's a need to disconnect before you can move things forward. So this kind of push and pull between where you're currently at, which is dissatisfying to you on some level, and where you want to be, that you're pushing yourself towards, requires you to emotionally disconnect. And then doors open. There's a lot of anxiety here. There's endless thinking, there's restlessness, there's sleepless night, there's difficulty concentrating, difficulty focusing, thinking about too many steps that you need to move forward. If I'm going to get there, I'm going to have to do this, and then I have to do that, and then I have to, and then this will lead to that, and then I won't be able to do that, and then this door will close. Well, doors are actually opening, but you have to emotionally disconnect. Got the moon card, birth of the moon. This is the unconscious. This is confusion. This kind of restless energy is also taking shape in your relationships and your finances because you're not putting your energy into one single thing. You're focused, you're deliberating between two things or several things. And so you're spreading your energy too thin. But the thing is, something is coming. The way the change happens in the world is not through our own. It's not through our own abilities. I would have you consider your judgment and your appetite, even as you would... Wait, that's not it. Basically, I mean, God rests in reason, God moves in passion. Things are happening in your life that are beyond your control. When the storm comes and the mighty wind shakes the forest and the thunder and lightning proclaim the majesty of the sky, then let your heart say in awe, God moves in passion. Since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. Right? You're made in the image of God. Rest in reason. There are times where you need to rest in order for your mind to come to halt. Move in passion. There are times where you are awakened from within, not from without. How will you know you're awakened from within and not from without? Your whole body feels alive. You're not grasping for things. You're not aching. You're not coming from a place of poverty or of thirst or hunger. Your eyes aren't bigger than your stomach. When I've overshared, I simply say, wait. Why am I talking? When I've overshared, I simply say, wait, why am I talking? Most people who talk out of ego talk to hear themselves. They're not usually interested in what you have to say. While you talk, they're waiting to respond with something bigger and better. Those people are dreary because they're insecure and they have to win you over by trying to impress you. I wouldn't say those people. I would say everyone is like this. We all have this part of ourselves. And that's what it's trying to get your attention, your awareness, to realize when you're just talking to fill in the air, to fill in the space. I measure my success by how much fun I'm having. So back to that question. How do you know when passion is moving through you? How do you know when it's coming from within and not from without? You're having fun. You're enjoying yourself. You're connected. You're tapped in. You're tuned. You're turned on. You're focused. You're alive. Abraham Hicks. An island of strong growth built from all that has gone before. A collection of learnings from many lives lived, creating a safe space for you and others to rest and take shelter. God rests in reason. There are times to ebb and there are times to flow. And this might be a time to ebb because you are needing to deconstruct the way that you have looked at things, your own set of values that come from emotional attachments, that come from anxiety, right? It says the word despair here, that come from anxiety, that come from a lack consciousness, a lack mentality. If you're starving for something, you're willing to do anything to get it. That's the time when you're most vulnerable. To be persuaded to do things that you don't want to do. To be tempted by things that you wouldn't take that temptation, you wouldn't take the bait if you were fulfilled. And you might say, well, I have to somehow move my life forward. I can't just stay stuck here, right? At some point, something's got to give. At some point, I need to feed my hungry belly. Okay, yeah. I mean, for some people that's literal and it's not funny, but it is just kind of a humorous idea. We're running on empty fuel. And this is a collective reading. So when does the light come through? God brings the light in. You don't turn on the light. You do the things that you do. You do your little human ability, what you're able to do as a human. We're not able to do what God can do. God brings in everything. God aligns the right people in the right places in the right time. You're not the one who decides that. You could pray for it, you could try to manifest it, but you're not going to be the one who creates it. We have a limited ability to do that. This is the pause, right? That's what this is. This is the pause. Let's reflect on that for a minute. This is the pause. Why is it the pause? Because we've been in poverty consciousness, because we've been holding on to things that we know for fear of lack, because we're connected, overly connected and emotional about our past, because we have a fear of loss and a fear of what other people say playing in our ear. because we are very traditionalist and we have a way of doing things in society, and that's how it's always been done, because we can get trapped in our own mindset and think that we're not capable of doing it. And that can spin, right, the 8 to the 9 of Swords, that can spin into a place of restlessness, being consumed by these worries, consumed by anxiety, not able to just flow with it. Life is a gift. Keep repeating that mantra. My life is a gift. Every moment of this life is a gift. I met someone really special. I don't know if I ever shared the story. I was doing like a yoga teacher training, and he was a vet, like he served in the army. And he said that he served during the Iraqi War, and he said that he had people that he knew who lost their limbs, and on days where he wasn't feeling motivated to work or to go for a run or to do yoga or to clean the apartment, he would remind himself that he knew these people that couldn't. They weren't able to do these things, and they had to have someone come in and clean the apartment for them, or make them food, or help them financially. Like they needed other people to step in and help them out because they couldn't take care of themselves anymore. And that's the kind of energy when you're feeling just down in the dumps. I'm not saying to sit there and think about how bad everyone else has it and then start feeling good. That's not what I mean at all. Just be grateful for everything that you have, even if it's just life, the ability to breathe and think and feel. It's incredible. It's incredible what we can do with our minds. It's incredible what we can do with our hearts if we open them up, if we create the space for healing. Get into a positive vibration. Send other people positivity, especially those who send you negativity. I mean, they're in a really dark place. People who think that you need to suffer in order for them to be successful, they're in an incredibly dark place. They're of an impoverished mindset. And those are the people you need to disconnect from emotionally. But send them love. Send them love and move on your way. Focus on the things that bring you joy. Don't overshare. But it's not just oversharing because you don't believe that you can trust anyone. Like, I'm not talking about oversharing from a place of paranoia, even though, unfortunately, our world is not as safe as we would like it to be, but that's always been the case, right? It's not about anything like that. It's more, don't overshare because you start saying things that you don't mean to say. You're regurgitating old information, speaking out of ego, talking to hear yourself, right? Not actually interested in what others have to say, just waiting to speak. Silence is golden. The Tao talks of this process of self-control. This is called the mysterious leveling. He who has achieved it cannot either be drawn into friendship or repelled, cannot be benefited, cannot be harmed, cannot be raised up or humbled, and for that reason is the highest of all creatures under heaven. This means that the sage is the highest because he or she makes him or herself the lowest by controlling the ego, the mysterious leveling, and disappearing into the infinite self instead. This means that the sage is the highest because he or she makes him or herself the lowest. Not needing to be important. By controlling the ego. The mysterious leveling. disappearing into the infinite self instead. You have an infinite self, you have an infinite soul, you have a limitlessness. Since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. I don't know if it's the Quakers or the Shakers, where, I think it may be Quakers, you only speak when you feel called to, like the divine speaks through you. And it's your own divinity. This doesn't have to do with religion. This is your own divinity. Yes, God is religious, but like you can tap into this regardless of your faith. There is no reason for any being on this earth to sit in acceptance and surrender of poverty and despair and anxiety and depression and addiction. There is no reason for any being on this earth to suffer. We create our reality through our perception, through our belief systems, through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions. But look, it requires some level of surrender of the self. You cannot move forward with this if your energy is in a low vibration and you're stuck on the past and you're stuck on people not giving you love and you're begging for their love, you're begging for forgiveness, you're begging for opportunities, you're begging for a job. You're not going to get it. You might, but the energy is to detach mentally, detach emotionally from this experience. Reconnect with the flow of the universe. Remind yourself that you're not in control. You can only do so little. It requires belief. It requires faith. It requires surrender. And again, if you don't believe in God, you find what you connect with personally that helps you move through this. Because you're going to need something. You have passion. It's not saying just rest and the passion will come. You move in passion and you rest in reason. When you rest in reason, you're not resting in the space of laying in bed and having anxious thoughts and not being able to calm down or fall asleep. If you're resting in reason, you are calm because you are seeing the light. When passion moves you, you take action. When passion moves you, you speak up. When passion moves you, you know this is the will of God. And God won't have it any other way. So you don't accept breadcrumbs, you don't accept the pennies, you don't accept the people who are giving you love in a way that's conditional. You free yourself from this emotionally by understanding it, by calling it out, by labeling it, and by detaching yourself. And you get into a vibration that is higher, that's connected with God. You get into the vibration of source. And you don't speak just to fill in the air. You speak when you feel called to. And you don't pursue success because of how it looks or what it means. You actually don't pursue success at all. You pursue connection through presence. And when you find your presence, you are fully alive, fully tapped in, fully connected, fully sourced. And there's no being and no power in this universe that can take that energy from you.